My name's Paul, welcome to Paul Perambulates. In this month's episode, I'm in the west of England, in Gloucestershire, exploring the Chedworth and Withington areas of the Cotswolds. My start point is the Chedworth Woodlands car park, the overflow for Chedworth Roman Villa. Postcode GL543LJ. Grid reference SP05531337. What 3 words? Wounds, excellent, denote. Following a very quick look at the Roman Villa, I head northwest via the White Way Roman Road to the beautiful Cotswold village of Withington. From there I turn southwards through Withington Woods and then on the other side southeastwards to cross the disused Chedworth airfield and then fail to find the trig point at Chedworth Beacon. I then pass through Chedworth itself, another beautiful Cotswold village, and turn eastward, cutting down through Chedworth Woods to Yarmworth Mill. Finally, I turn back westward, searching fruitlessly for the remains of a Roman temple on my way back to the car park. Total distance 15.3 kilometres. Total height gain 291 metres. Total walking time 4 hours and 24 minutes. This is the Chedworth Woodlands car park. It's the overflow car park for Chedworth Roman Villa. So if you go and walk in here, then I would park here so that you're not pushing someone out of a space at the villa. I think that would be the considerate thing to do. It is free, but it's only open March to October, presumably to cater for the villa. I'm here extremely early on a weekday in term time, so it's deserted, but just the existence of the sign here illustrates the parking problems they have. So if you are walking, please park in the Woodlands car park. Not directly on the route, but only 100 metres away, Chedworth Roman Villa. An excellent day out in its own right. You could easily combine it with your walk. One of 15 known Roman villa sites within a 10-mile radius. And this one would have been a particularly opulent one. Not known if the owner was Roman, because it continued to be built after the Romans left in 410 AD. It's actually closed at the moment because I'm here very early, but I've been here before, and inside those protective sheds up there are some really staggeringly intact Roman mosaics, well worth seeing. Even if you're not going to visit the villa, they've got a shop here with a cafe which you could use, and that obviously would help with the upkeep of it. So good facilities. Country lanes to start with, but there'll be more interesting stuff to look at later. Great view of the River Colne here, meandering along the bottom of the valley. This might look like an ordinary British country road. It's actually been here for a couple of thousand years. It's a Roman road called White Way. We're not far off Foss Way here, which was the major Roman road stretching from Exeter all the way up to Lincoln. And this was one of the ones that came off it to serve Chedworth Villa and other Roman sites in the area. Need to pay attention with your navigation here. There are obvious ways and then much less obvious ways. Rather typically of the Cotswolds, it's all very well done. If we look here on the bench, they've even made sure you're not going to slip. Crossing over the River Cole now, on the way to Withington, you get this lovely little footbridge. Early July, so coming right into the middle of summer, and the crops are up. Good harvest to be had from this field. Path carries on the other side of the River Colne and a good 20-30 metres above it, so we get a lovely view as we walk along the valley here. Passing now under the dismantled railway on the way to Withington. Path actually goes through somebody's garden at this point, so best behaviour through here. No filming, and I'm going to shut up now. Well, I said no filming, and then they go and put something that excellent there. In fact, it looks as though this garden has been made deliberately interesting for anyone passing through. Thank you to the owners. What a fantastic garden. And kudos to them for making it interesting and quite clearly wanting to share it. The Mill Inn, Withington, has an interesting claim to fame. Claims to have invented chicken in a basket in the 1960s. So you're not to order if you decide to eat here, which you can because it's still open, unlike a lot of country pubs. And also has a working phone box outside it. Also possesses a very beautiful beer garden with the most wonderful feature, a stream running right through it and a little ornamental bridge. Beautiful. Withington itself dominated by the very beautiful St Michael and All Angels Church, made out of that classic Cotswold limestone with its ochre colour. In fact, everything here is made out of that characteristic limestone. The name Withington derived from the Saxon Woodiandun, Woodian's Hill. Woodian could have been a resident, could have been derived from the name of a Saxon hero. This very impressive building is Withington Court. Looks like Georgian architecture to me. I'm not a massive expert though, so I could easily be wrong about that. Whatever, it's beautiful. Now plunged into Withington Woods, So I need to be a little bit careful about my navigation and enjoying the change of scenery. Great thing about ancient woodlands, staggeringly tall trees. In the high summer, this sort of less used woodland path does tend to get a little bit overgrown, and that is the reason why I'm wearing long trousers today. Nettles, brambles, ticks, all sorts of nasties, and I don't want them to spoil my enjoyment of what is an otherwise utterly beautiful scene. It's not like that all the way though. Some of the more shaded parts are beautifully clear. Well, this is classic deer country, and lo and behold, it didn't take them long to twig that I'm here, and off they go. Great scenery shifts available here, from meadow to woodland. From which you can still see the meadow. I'm now on the disused airfield, RAF Chedworth. Started in 1941, completed 1942, obviously because of the war, although mainly used for training. Briefly occupied by the American Army Air Force to support the D-Day landings in 1944. Disused since the 1980s. 2 runways in a cross shape, reputedly some buildings still intact, but can't see anything obvious. Northern half of the north-south runway, much more intact, clearly used for something, presumably by whoever put this sign here. I'm at Chedworth Beacon, and you would expect some pretty impressive views from somewhere named Beacon. You can see a long way here in places, but it's not really prominent enough, and there are too many trees for it to be a really good view. Wonder if the trees weren't here when it got that name. According to the map, there's a trig point just behind that boundary, about 50 metres away, but private land, so I'm not going to go on it. I wonder if it's still there. Chedworth Cricket Club. If you pass by on a sunny Saturday or Sunday in the summer, you might be able to catch an over or two here. At the end of this lovely tree-lined avenue, we have this style built of the characteristic local limestone. And behind it, we're looking at Chedworth, also built of the local stone, and in particular, the church. This is St Andrew's Church, built in the 12th century, rebuilt in the 13th and 15th centuries, subtly refurbished by the Victorians in the 19th, and unsurprisingly, a Grade 1 listed building. There are apparently some corbels carved in the image of Henry VII and his wife Elizabeth of York, who were reputed to have visited here in 1491. They may be on the inside or on the other side. Looking at the gravestones, mostly date from Victorian times, but probably laid over generations and generations of local people buried in this churchyard. Opposite the church, the most beautiful row of traditional Cotswold limestone cottages. And behind, down at the end there, the local pub. And here it is, sadly temporarily closed. Let's hope it reopens. The word tun, T-U-N, is an old English word for a barrel, normally containing beer. The pub even sounds good because it's got a little waterfall right opposite. Passing down through Chedworth, more limestone, some of it very, very old. Climbing out of Chedworth on the other side, fantastic view of the village. Out on the open hillside now, and a very summery scene. Crops gently swaying in the breeze. Heading down through Chedworth Woods now towards Yarmworth, one of the best parts of the walk. Path heads down through this gentle gully, heavily wooded either side, more sparsely in the middle. Absolutely beautiful. Owners of log burners, look away now. This is Yarmworth Mill, now a private house. Records from 1831 show it as being a working mill at the centre of a 150-acre farm, and then 50 years later having grown to 250 acres. Yet another beautiful Cotswold limestone building. And opposite, some charming cottages which were undoubtedly part of that farm. From Yarmworth Mill, we've got this excellent track taking us back round alongside the River Colne and heading back towards Chedworth Roman Villa. One more thing to go and look for though. According to the map, there are the ruins of a Roman temple in the woods along this track somewhere. I've been this way before, tried to find them, failed. But I'm going to have another go. So we'll see what we can find. I'm on the spot of the grid reference I found for this Roman temple. Found some stone under an uprooted tree. Apart from that, big heap of dirt. I'm not sure whether I found it or whether it doesn't actually exist or what. So it may be that the temple was built on this little mound here. Trees have grown up over the centuries in between, clearly fallen in storms, wrecked the whole thing. It was discovered in 1864, same year as the Roman villa, and that can't have been a coincidence. One must have sparked the other. There is apparently a quarry up on the right there, and it was found during work on that. A 1924 excavation found coins, roof tiles, Mediterranean pottery. I doubt if they'd find anything now. And here we are, arriving back at the start. The Chedworth Withington Yarmworth walk. Not one of my more difficult ones. Going to give that 3 out of 10 on the difficulty scale. Most people should be able to do that. And even if that's a problem, there is a handy path up through the middle of Chedworth Woods that breaks it in 2. So you can just do half of it, or half one day, half another day. You could even combine it with a visit to the excellent Chedworth Roman Villa, owned and operated by the National Trust and well worth supporting. You don't always want to be struggling up mountains. Sometimes it's nice to just ramble through some beautiful British countryside with some lovely buildings to look at and some sites of historical interest. Highly recommended. All maps and 3D fly-throughs provided by kind permission of Ordnance Survey through their excellent OS Online application. Big thanks also for all music used in this video to mixkit.co and upbeat.io. Specific song and artist credits can be found in the comments. These videos are designed to show you around the routes I walk in case you're considering doing them yourself. They are not designed to be any kind of hill walking training or guidance. If you need hill walking skills, obtain them in person from a reputable, qualified provider. Please don't attempt these walks without appropriate levels of fitness and equipment. If you don't have the required levels of knowledge and experience, only undertake them accompanied by somebody who does. You can find out more about me and my background and experience at my website, paulperambulates.co.uk. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Paul Perambulates. If you did, please subscribe and share.